So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at two other functions that we've got to work with in the SQL language, the count and the sum functions. Now the count and sum functions kind of sound similar, and basically what they're going to do is something very similar, but the count is going to be used for counting up the number of records that we're going to have, whereas the sum function is going to add up all the numeric values within a particular column. And so just to let you know, like for instance, if I wanted to count how many titles I have, I could run a count function. Instead of saying select all from books, I could say select title from books. And now if I run this by itself, you're going to see that I've got 10 rows are returned. However, I may want to count how many of them actually end up showing up. So let's just say I wanted to do select, and this time I'm going to use the count function. And I'm going to use, since it's a function, I need to have the parentheses around what I'm going to run the function on. And so I'm going to count up how many titles from books. And so when I run this, you're going to see it's going to come back to me as number 10. Now I can actually rename this. And so I can actually, if I wanted to, instead of count title, I want it to come up as something else, I can actually put in the word as, and I can put in total books, like something similar to that, and hit run. You'll see that it changes the title to total books, and so I got total books and 10 records have been returned. And so this is allowing me to use the count function. Now let's go back to the asterisks here and do all of them from books. I want to use the sum function now, and the sum function is going to add things up. And so if I look through my records here, the only thing that actually makes sense to add things up would be maybe the total price if I were to buy all 10 books. And so I'm going to go ahead and run this time the sum function. So let's go ahead and do that, sum, and then I'm going to go ahead and do price as my field from books. And so if I run this, you're going to see a total price of $155.90 is my price. Now doing this alone may not necessarily make sense, but we may want to actually do some kind of queries with this. And so for instance, let's see if we can have something make sense. I may want to see, I want to know all the prices of the books from author number 1. So now I'm going to actually put a larger condition on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to say sum up all the prices of the books that come from author 1, and we're going to also do the same thing for count. We're going to say count all the titles that come from author ID 1. And so we'll start off by select, and I'm going to go ahead and say count title from books, and now I'm going to put my condition where, and we're going to say author ID equals 1. And now if I go ahead and run this, you're going to see it counted back and said there are 6 books from author 1. So now I'm starting to use this to actually pull out some relevant data here. Now if I do the same thing here, I can go ahead and change this to price. I should get the exact same value actually on this one now, because it will still, there it is. It still counts back 6. There are 6 of them that meet this criteria. That's what it's saying here. What I can do now is I can actually just put in, instead of count, I can put sum, and I'll hit run, and now I've got $104.94. So basically all of the books, that if I added up all the prices of all the books from author 1, the total price for all those books added together is $104.94. And so, and again, I could rename this column. I could rename it as, and then total price from author 1. It's a real long title, but just to reiterate what we can do there, if I put as, that changes the title of the column itself whenever we do this field for the function.